an injury to one of Iowa's veterans on offense that could cause further complications for the sputtering Hawkeye passing attack. More on the reported injury to Nico Ragaini in a moment. But first, a reminder to please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Check out Ascent Nutrition and their pine pollen. They've got some great stuff. This pine pollen powder, if you want nature's highest source of brassicose steroids, it supports a healthy libido, hormone balance, while also providing over 200 nutrients that are beneficial for your overall health. Definitely get yourself one of these containers. Pine pollen powder. This stuff from Ascent Nutrition. Visit goascentnutrition.com. You're supporting my stuff right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm and our sponsor, Ascent Nutrition. Again, goascentnutrition.com. Use the code Hawkeyes at checkout for 15% off your order. So the report, and this is an unfortunate development. Nico Ragaini reported to be out with a foot injury, a wide receiving core that's already struggling with injuries, already struggling with attrition. I know I seem to talk about this subject every single day. Now they gain one guy back, they lose another guy. Nico Ragaini, the leader of that wide receiving core, as a senior, you expected him to take that next step and really step up as a senior. And now he's reported to be out. The extent of the foot injury is somewhat muddled right now. One source telling me that he would be back early next week. Another source telling me he may miss a couple of games. So we'll have to wait and see. Kind of unclear territory there. But the consensus is Nico Ragaini is out right now with a foot injury. Not a development Iowa football needed. This passing attack, which I was told did not look very good yesterday during its final closed scrimmage of fall camp, and I'll get more into that here in the coming day or two, did not need this injury. So what does it mean moving forward? Obviously, the length of absence is significant here. Will Nico Ragaini be back for game one? Will it take a couple of weeks? The good news here is it does not sound like an injury that's going to cost him 3, 4, 5, 6 games. You hope it's not a stress reaction or certainly a stress fracture. I would think the timetable would be much longer if it was a stress fracture, but stress reactions, and Iowa basketball fans know this very well. Those can be lingering. Those can be difficult. I know Mike Gesell years ago dealt with a stress reaction that just kind of nagged and nagged and nagged. And I think CJ Frederick had the same thing happen, if I'm not mistaken. Those things can be nagging, especially as a receiver. You can't be having issues with your feet. If I'm not mistaken, Matt Vandenberg in 2016 broke his foot. Now, I'm just rattling this stuff off. I should have looked this up before starting to record. But the point is, you hope that Nico Ragaini can figure out this issue. It certainly does hurt you as it relates to chemistry and camaraderie. These quarterbacks who have already struggled getting receivers the ball, we know tight end was a heavily relied on position for the passing game last year, and the passing game wasn't good last year. But Sam Laporta and Luke Lachey, we expect those guys to be heavily involved. They're going to need to be heavily involved. But one thing I know Coach Don Patterson had said to me over and over again is we got to get the wide receivers more involved in this offense. And so when you're down Keegan Johnson all spring and much of fall camp, then you lose Ragaini in fall camp. You already lost Jones, Tracy. You lost Ritter. Brecht has been out. Brecht didn't even – you talk about Brody Brecht. I love the kid. He's playing baseball. He's a great pitcher. I think he's got an opportunity to be a pro one day on that side of things. But, when you're splitting time, I don't think he necessarily was able to put his best foot forward in the spring and even last year. And now you're looking at a situation where he's missed some time this fall. Where's the chemistry? Who is going to step up? You really point to one or two guys now. Is it going to be an Alec Wick who's a walk-on? You hate to rely on a walk-on, and I don't think anybody believes Alec Wick is the next Tim Dwight. But, you're running out of options as far as guys who have been able to really spend a lot of time with Spencer and with Alex this fall and even last spring. Arlen Bruce has been the one guy who's seemed to be a pillar of health, knock on wood, real loud knock on wood there. You hope that he can stay healthy. But this is a development we'll continue to follow. You hope we'll get to see him week one. The good news is, as far as competition is concerned, Iowa, even though that wide receiving core could very well be depleted, the fact of the matter is Iowa should be able to win its first 4 games without Nico Ragaini. All right. Those first 4, as we know, South Dakota State, Nevada, Iowa State, and Rutgers, I think all those games are tricky, but I don't think we're going to look back at any of those games. If Iowa loses one of those games, I don't think any of us are going to be able to look back at a game that Iowa loses in those first four and say, wow, if Nico Ragaini had been there, they wouldn't have lost. I don't think that's fair. Now, again, I'm kind of projecting forward, but Iowa should be able to take care of business simply based upon its dominant defense and hopefully a run game that is better. I don't know how much better. Still some injury problems up front along that offensive line and some juggling. We've seen a lot of different packages, if you will, or a lot of different subs in there. It's going to be interesting to see how that front five is laid out as well. But the good news is it does not sound like this is a season-long issue for Ragaini, but there's still some question marks. So not sure when we'll hear from Kirk next. I'm assuming we'll hear from him early game week. But regardless, we'll keep you updated right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Appreciate you tuning in for another edition of the show. Again, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Hit the notification bell because great content on the way and a special guest coming on a live show this coming Friday right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Stay tuned.